Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 welcome. Good morning, comrade. Oh, I had such a good night's sleep for the first time in a while. I slept like Trump was watching. Yep. Oh, Harlan Crothers just became a loyalist. Thank you very much. Rockland County, New York. Smart election fraud. So, it looks like there might have been some election fraud in Rockland County, New York. And I think Elon Musk is the one who made that happen. Just say, yeah. AI overview is not available for this search. Been using it as copium. Well, here's the problem, is that Rockland County is a primarily blue county in New York State, and they have voted blue for like the past 40 years. And suddenly, not a single person in Rockland County voted for Kamala Harris. It's fucking bizarre. It's bizarre. There's clear evidence that the Senate results are incorrect. There are statistical indications that the presidential results are highly unlikely. Founder and director of the SMART legislation. If the results are incorrect, it's a violation of constitutional rights for each and every person who voted. The 2024 Rockland County general election. More voters have sworn that they voted for independent U.S. Senate candidate Dianne Sayre than were counted. Additionally, the presidential election results exhibit numerous statistical anomalies. The anomalies in the presidential race include multiple districts where hundreds of voters chose the Democratic candidate, Kirsten Gillibrand, for Senate, but 0 votes selected the Democrat presidential candidate of Kamala Harris. This is statistically impossible. It is statistically impossible that not a single person in these districts voted for Kamala Harris. It's not possible. It's like Luigi! It's like thinking that like in your town there wouldn't be one person who voted for Trump, no matter how blue your town was. That's just not fucking possible. Josh Hawley got wrecked. Let me see. Luigi, leave. God damn it, Luigi. Come here. Josh Hawley. Enough. Come here. Apparently, Trump and Elon are going to speak on the phone together. Let's see how Fox News is coping.
So a big, beautiful truce could be coming today as President Trump and Elon Musk will reportedly speak over the phone to hash out their differences that spilled over into the public.
Lucas Tomlinson is live in...
It's right. The Trump regime already said that what happened with Elon has made their relationship irreparable. Let's see, is it going to be a fucked up TikTok? Why is it this way? Wait. Who the fuck is this? Guys, you know what's funny? None of these are me. This is how you know you're doing something right. This is how you know you're doing something right.
I wish I had smoother skin.
I wish I had a stronger core.
I wish more people liked me.
It's hard for me to open up.
Oh, Jesus.
Hi, all. If you are a political content creator and you are not discussing Rockland County, New York today, this week, I understand it's being suppressed, but a quick Google search will let you know everything that's going on in Rockland County, New York, as far as the 2024 contest goes. TikTok is trying to censor this information. Go ahead and do your own research and then spread the word. This is far too important to let this.
So I just received my second strike. TikTok does not want you talking about Rockland County, New York. Smart elections. Yeah, they don't want you spreading awareness of it or talking about it. There's definitely no censorship or corruption here whatsoever. It does not matter if you cite your sources, give your own opinion on it and your views on it. Put your sources in the description and just simply try and spread facts and awareness. TikTok will now give you strikes for lying, even though you are posting true sources and true events that are happening. So just be careful with what you post, you know, especially if you are at risk of losing your account, because that's my second strike for integrity. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go right wing now. I'm just gonna start posting a bunch of lies and go from there. So I just received my second strike.
I knew that would happen. What happened? His little feet got hooked on this and he ripped them clean out of my ears. Oh yeah, look at this. So this was
We're going to have a little
what time was this?
discussion now, very private, and I just want to thank you all for being here. And
4:28 p.m. So yeah, this was right at. This is like the tweets had already dropped. The tweets had already hit the towers.
thank you very much, media. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You hear that? Did you hear what he
Thank
just
you
said?
very much, media. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, media. Really appreciate it. Have you ever known Donald Trump to thank the media? Ever? Listen to how weak and scared and afraid he sounds.
Yes. We're going to have a little discussion now, very private, and I just want to thank you all for being here. And thank you very much, media. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, any response to Elon Musk claiming that the Epstein files?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Good job.
He looks defeated. He looks defeated.
My ex has a video of me wearing a collar and barking on all fours in the doggy position, playing fetch with her panties, as if I was a golden retriever. When she would throw her panties across the room, I would run across the room and wiggle my ass as if it was a tail.
And then I would also stick my tongue out and slobber all over the ground. And once I got him, if she tried to take him back, I would bark at her. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I need...
Bro, I haven't had a fucking original experience in my goddamn life.
Quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now.
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they?
I need it. I need it.
Quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now.
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they?
How
Quick
dare
reaction
you?
on what's going on with Elon
How
Musk
dare
and
you?
President Trump on Twitter right now.
Guess what British people call sprinkles? Hundreds and thousands. Bro, bomb that country.
I hope that Elon and Trump reconcile. It'd be good for the country, and to do so privately.
Well, I talked to an insider today who said it's irreparable. That was the line. It is irreparable. But look,
I hope that.
Also, what's starting to happen are the MAGA brainworm-ridden chuds are starting to pump out conspiracy theories that actually this is the plan all along. Trump, Elon plan. That this is some orchestrated, some big orchestrated plan. It's the fart of the steel. Oh, God. Hey, you guys!
Number two, you can bring down government debt, which means you can bring down government interest. And the government today, the federal government today, pays more in interest than we pay for the Department of Defense.
Right, but how much of that is salary?
No, that's just interest on the debt.
Right.
That's just interest on the old debt.
Okay.
We pay like $1.2 billion a year right now, I think is the latest number, which is just interest on debt. It's not paying for any good or...
I wonder if Trump truthed. Oh, damn, he's tweeted a lot today. Or truthed a lot. Hey, Elon. Did you leave your kid with a pedophile? Oh, what is this?
I am thrilled to invite everyone to an unforgettable celebration, one like you've never seen before. On Saturday, June 14th, which is Flag Day, we are honoring the 250th anniversary of the greatest fighting force in history, the United States Army. We will celebrate a spectacular military parade in Washington, D.C., like no other. For 2.5 centuries, the men and women of America's Army have dominated our enemies and protected our freedom at home. This parade salutes our soldiers' remarkable strength and unbeatable spirit. You won't want...
Wait, what was that?
This parade salutes our...
Wait, what the fuck is that?
Protected our freedom at home. This parade salutes our soldiers' remarkable strength and unbeatable spirit. You won't want to miss it. Just don't miss this one. It's going to be good. Thundering tanks and breathtaking flyovers will roar through our capital city as nearly 7,000 soldiers march in historic uniforms from every major war since the revolution. Join us for this once-in-a-lifetime celebration. I think it's going to be better and bigger than any parade we've ever had in this country. Reserve your spot now at America250.org.
I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but this looks AI generated, right? Genuinely?
America250.org. I hope to see you there. I'm going to be there. I'll be watching the entire event. It's going to be something very, very special. I don't think we've ever done one quite like this. We're going to be celebrating the Army and our military. Thank you very much.
The Army's part of the military, you stupid fat orange fuck. The failing New York Times and Washington Compost, two, quote, papers that have ruthlessly fought me for years, have each done polls where a vast majority of those sampled are Democrats. In other words, the polls, just like their writings, are rigged. It is not possible for a Republican to do well in such a poll. They are corrupt as hell. The real polls out there having me doing better than ever before, just like Election Day 2024, where I won 7 out of 7 swing states, the popular vote, and districts by 2,750 to 505. I won the election in a landslide, and the fake news media is failing our nation at levels never seen before. Make America great again. Make America great again. Make America great again. Prices are down, income is up, our border is closed, gasoline is cheap, inflation is dead, our country is booming, companies are pouring into America like never before. Bro, if you, like, dude, I can't, let me see the replies. Oh my God, these fucking people. I don't care about For You. I want Trump's truth. Gonna keep your hair like this or grow it out again? Probably keep it pretty short.
He doesn't look like the co-president. My issue is that the media said that Musk was the co-president. He doesn't look like the co-president anymore. The media said Trump was doing favors for Elon Musk. Well, if you look at this big, beautiful bill, there's no favors for Elon Musk in it at all. Now, the big, beautiful bill, now he's got a...
The lowest tax cuts in American history for the 1% isn't going to benefit Elon Musk. No regulation on AI for a decade isn't going to benefit Elon Musk when he's creating an XAI supercomputer. Obi-Wan fucking Kenobi agrees that Donald Trump is a Sith Lord, brother. Obi-Wan motherfucking Kenobi. Okay? Obi-Wan Jablomi understands this.
Beef with it. These are the things that Trump ran on and won on. Wall, ICE guys so you could do mass deportations.
Wall ICE guys. Dude, the mind of the average Republican is actually so fucking pathetic.
Military F-35 ships, pay raises for the troops, and tax relief for everybody, no tax on tips. These are the things that...
Tax relief for everybody, no tax on tips. There is no tax on tips. There is no tax on tips. This is the largest... oh my god, dude, I fucking hate Jesse Walters. Dude, Fox News should be illegal. Fox should be fucking illegal. These people are responsible for the downfall of our nation by corrupting the minds of our fucking parents.
That won him the election. He didn't run on balancing the budget. Yeah. So this is the priority right now. You have 4 years to balance the budget. Yeah, there's a lot of pork in this thing. There's always a little pork, all right? But this is not a spending bill. This is the signature piece of Donald Trump's second term. This may be the last major piece of legislation Trump ever passes. Well, he might have 3 terms, but for now, we're saying this is it.
Oh, go fuck yourself. Oh, go fuck yourself, JD.
Trump giving Epstein his personal attention. The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein. More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras.
This is back when Trump was constantly loaded on Sudafed, and he was like, it was like the equivalent of being geeked up on meth. It's part of the reason why his casinos failed. I don't know if you guys know this about Trump. Trump was a rampant Sudafed addict, addicted to amphetamines for like a decade. It's well documented. He was he couldn't sleep because he was geeked up so much.
Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one.
No, not cocaine. No. That's the thing about Trump. Trump didn't do drugs or drink booze in the way that like you do, okay? Trump thought he was clean, right? When it comes to him being geeked up, he was prescribed Sudafed because he was like, "Oh, doc, I'm so tired. I have so much work to do. I need to stay up." So the doc gave him amphetamines. But this is Koofs is back. This is before Epstein did bad shit, bro. No, dude, Epstein was doing bad shit the entire fucking time, dog.
Here's to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president said...
Yeah, he probably said, "I'd like to grab her by the pussy." That's probably what he fucking said. Koofs has returned. Koofs has indeed returned. Here's what Trump said about Epstein back in 2002. "Epstein likes to tell people that he's a loner, a man who's never touched alcohol or drugs, and one whose nightlife is far from energetic. And yet, if you talk to Donald Trump, a different Epstein emerges. Quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side, no doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. Incredible. Incredible. And here's Elon calling for Trump to be impeached. Hey, Chris, big fan of yours from Australia. How do you think the fall will be and how? My bet is that impeachment, but that would have to wait until midterms. No, impeachment won't do anything. What I believe will happen is this. Elon Musk is, he's done irreparable damage to his relationship with Trump. Him and Trump they're done. They're done. So what Elon is going to do, because all he cares about is popularity, he's going to attack to the left. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk has a meeting with the most corrupt Democrats that there are. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, right? And you got to remember, money wins elections. Money is power. You live in a world where the richest man wins every single time. And Elon Musk is the richest man in human history. All he has to do is tack to the left, meet with the corrupt Democrat leaders, and tell them, I am willing to give you as much money as you fucking need to primary every single Republican that voted for the big beautiful bill. And not only that, I will pour tens of billions of dollars into a campaign that publicly shames Trump everywhere that you can. That's what I expect to see, is Elon spending his money on just fucking destroying Donald Trump. That's what I end up seeing. Out of pure spite. Out of pure spite. Now, what the Democrats should do, what those corrupt pieces of shit like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, what they should do is welcome Elon into the fold and use his money, use him like a tool, and destroy Trump. And then as soon as Trump is out of office, the Democrats should use the status quo that we have set up from Trump and deport Elon Musk with no due process and send him to the slave labor camp in El Salvador, CCOT, to never be heard from again. That is what the Democrats should do, and you make that the final person deported. Or the final person sent to, CCOT. Now the lefties are on Elon's side. You just heard me say deport Elon Musk to a slave labor camp with no due process, and your brainworm-ridden brain just said, now the lefties are on Elon's side. Koofs, again, we went over this the other day when you said that Neville Chamberlain was a president of the United States. You're the stupidest person I've ever conversed with. I need you to just understand that before we start. You're the stupidest person I've ever spoken to. I do want him deported, but not to CCOT and still not without due process. I think he'd be legally deportable for election interference. No, deport him. No due process. Send him to a slave labor camp in El Salvador. Just like we did Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Just like we did fucking tens of thousands of people. Deport Elon Musk with no due process and send him to CCOT. Thought you were against no due process? Yeah, not for Elon. Not for Elon. Even Elon should get due process? Nah, I disagree. No due process, send him to the slave labor camp, just like the rest of the people.
The Mar-a-Lago party shows Trump.
He doesn't deserve due process. So then you stand for nothing? I stand for revenge. That's what I stand for. Revenge. Elon Musk illegally hacked into our institutions and destroyed Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and SNAP benefits. I believe in revenge. Look at this. The most notorious Tesla club in the world. Tesla owners. What a bunch of fucking losers. Wait, so you said even terrorists get due process, so basically you stand for nothing. Dude, clearly I'm fucking joking. I'm trying to use Trump's language against him. For example, let me go to my Instagram. Let me show you this. Check this out. Here.
You need to deport Elon Musk. He is a traitor, and you need to deport Elon Musk. No due process. Send him to CCOT.
So you see this? He's legal, bro. What are you talking about? So, Trump said we can deport U.S. citizens. The whole thing that I'm doing here is stirring the pot. The entire point here is to get you fuckers to fight each other. I am literally...
President Donald Trump, you need to deport Elon Musk. He is a traitor, and you need to deport Elon Musk. No due process.
I am pretending to be one of you. That's why I put hashtag MAGA, Make America Great Again, Trump, Elon Musk. Most of the people who see this aren't going to know who I am, and they're going to think that I'm one of them. See? Stir the pot. Make them fight each other. Deport Elon. The entire point of this is to pretend to be one of those Trump-supporting MAGA chuds and get all of these people who are Trump supporters, Trump cultists, to start advocating for the deportation of Elon. This is the art of war. I'm pretending to be one of you. And on Instagram, most people don't even know who I am. I'm 153K followers, but the people who see this, how many views did this even get? I don't even think it says how many views it got. It's not me. It's not my family. In your hand, and you're fighting.
And frankly, I take back what I said about Tesla. Nothing is computer, and we hate Tesla. If you drive a Tesla, it means you're gay. And frankly, I take back what
I've seen Yellow Jackets. Seen it. Whew. Chris Coos calls you a fascist? Yeah, dude, he's done that many a time.
And
I just hope this keeps on escalating, yeah. I hope this gets worse and worse and worse. I've seen Handmaid's Tale as well. Just followed on Instagram. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Welcome back. Ahead of the primary election later this month, 9 Democrats hoping to be New York City's next mayor faced off in their first debate as the frontrunner, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, was
Nelson,
the target
you cannot
of attacks
ban Koofs unless Koofs says something absolutely unhinged. Koofs is my money, my pay pig. I have made more money since Koofs joined the chat than before, ever. Last month was my most profitable month, and I do believe that has to do with Koofs. So only ban Koofs if he directly violates one of the guidelines, okay?
All sides.
This question was about... You know what? Speaking of, before we get started, hi, I'm Chris Valenti. Welcome to the Valenti broadcast. I'm your perfect and humble leader. Don't forget to money launder. Send me a whole bunch of money in the name of our humble leader, Koofs, our #1 hater, who quite literally drives most of the monetization towards me. So, listen, if you support the channel, I've never had a conversation with an advertiser, a billionaire, or a foreign government. So if you do want to help me financially, a couple ways you could do it. You could become a member here on YouTube. You could donate money through a super chat. You could become a patron. You could buy some Valenti Videos merch, and you could use the 40% off discount code for the Ground News Vantage subscription. All right?
Your personal regret in your years in politics?
I said I regret the state of the Democratic Party is
no
in that we elected
regrets.
Trump.
Not the 15. No regrets when it comes to cutting Medicaid or health care. No regrets when it comes to cutting child care. No regrets when it comes to slow walking PPE and vaccinations in the season of COVID to Black and brown communities. Really, no regrets.
Right. Let's turn to public safety. It's a
Thank you for the $5 Koofs donation, Disobedient Avocado. I appreciate that.
top concern for many New Yorkers.
The people who don't feel safe are young women, mothers, and grandmothers around Andrew Cuomo. That's the greatest threat to public safety in New York City.
Ooh, a lot of fireworks there. Cuomo is trying to make a political comeback after resigning from the governor's mansion in 2021 amid an investigation from his own attorney general that found Cuomo sexually harassed nearly a dozen women. Allegations Cuomo denies. The attorney general also found the Cuomo administration undercounted nursing home deaths during the COVID.
Zoran did so well in that fucking debate, and then the day after AOC endorsed him. Listen, this is a race between Andrew Cuomo and Zoran Mamdani. Take my money. Thank you, Rocky Lucid, for the $3 donation. What you guys have to understand is this is going to set the standard. If a socialist like Zoran Mamdani can actually beat out a hyper-capitalist neolib like Andrew Cuomo, that is faith. That is hope for the rest of this nation.
19 pandemic. Polls show Cuomo's chief competitor is Zoran Mamdani, a 33-year-old self-described socialist who is hoping to become New York's first Muslim mayor. Earlier today, Mamdani picked up a key endorsement from progressive leader and New York City Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Big endorsement there. Here to break down the dynamics of this race is our very own NBC News national political correspondent, Steve Kornacki. Steve, it's great to be here in New York with you.
Mashallah, our brother will win, mashallah.
To be on set with you, Chris.
Yeah, you.
Inshallah, our brother Zoran will fucking win.
Usually we're in D.C. together, so let's talk about this endorsement by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. How could it shake up the state of the race?
Willing to bet money Coops is about to call me a terrorist.
Reinforces what's become the main dynamic in this race, and that is we always knew Andrew Cuomo was the front runner. There's this crowded pack. Who's going to be the main challenger? I think it clearly is Zoran Mamdani, and her appeal, Ocasio-Cortez's appeal, I think overlaps with what Mamdani's has been so far. So I think it reinforces. It doesn't necessarily expand. He's doing best with younger voters, self-described very liberal voters, college-educated voters. He actually does better with white voters than non-white voters. That sort of progressive base of the Democratic Party we talk about a lot. It's with AOC, and it's increasingly with him in this race.
Well, it certainly is going to add a fascinating dynamic, and so, too...
I'm feeling uncomfortable right now, bro. This is scary. What was that? Ifti Hilwa, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. Inshallah, my brother. Inshallah, my brother. Inshallah.
Is the fact that the current mayor, Eric Adams, is running as an independent. He, of course, was facing indictments, multiple charges for various different issues. That's been dropped under the Trump administration. How does he impact the shape of this race? And what do you think?
No, don't be scared, Habibi. Don't be scared, Habibi.
Prospects are.
Yeah, so this is the interesting thing. We've got this primary going on, but Eric Adams, the Democratic mayor, not going to be in the Democratic primary. He says he's running in the fall. And I think the key thing for people to understand about New York City elections is it's pretty easy to create a political party in New York City. All it really means is you get your name on the ballot somewhere. And what they can do here that they can't do almost anywhere else is you can run as the nominee of multiple parties. So one thing that you've seen happen here is Adams has basically created his own.
Is that what terrorists say, bro? Ifti Helwa means you're looking thick.
Own party to run on in the general election. He may be soliciting the opportunity to run on other lines, so he's going to be there. You know, they'll have the winner of the Democratic primary who's going to be there. There is a Republican primary. Curtis Sliwa is expected to win that, so you'll have multiple candidates out there. There could be more who emerge in the general election, and it's potentially a big wild card. This thing, not necessarily. You think in New York is just overwhelmingly Democratic. The primary is the be-all and end-all. It can be. It often is. But there, you know, with Adams there.
Sprechen Sie English and German? Deutsche, meine Kameraden. Jawohl, Kommandant. Sprechen Sie Deutsche. Sprechen Sie Deutsche. Mach schnell, mach tun.
And some other possibilities, this could be extended beyond primary day a bit in terms of some drama.
We can't overstate this enough. The fact that Governor Andrew Cuomo is the front runner in this race, and you saw that with the dynamics in that debate last night. Everybody was piling on.
No, absolutely. Look, and he came into this race with the big lead. He still has the big lead, although, again, Mamdani's been closing in. And what, you've got this ranked choice voting that's going to happen here. So you rank the candidates on the ballot 1 to 5 in your order of your preference. And each round,
by the way, if you're in New York City and you're voting, do not rank Cuomo. Even if Cuomo is like your bottom of the barrel pick, don't even put him on the list. Just leave it blank. Do not write Andrew Cuomo's fucking name, bro. Leave him out of this.
drop the low performing, reallocate the votes. This all plays out.
Who
It's
the
a
hell is
complicated
Coops?
formula.
Coops
but
is my
you know, what they've
pay
got-
pig. He's a dedicated hater that comes here every single stream. He is quite possibly like my most loyal watcher. But when Koofs is here, I make more money than when Koofs is not here because people give me money out of spite for him.
You can see it up on your screen right there. This is one of the most recent polls. And you see in the first round there, Cuomo leads Mamdani in second place there. You play it all the way out. Cuomo, once you get to 50%, somebody wins. But that Cuomo number, has taken him a few rounds to get there. Mamdani certainly has the momentum in this thing. And one of the possibilities, Mamdani has to expand his support more from what we were talking about earlier. But if he could ever beat Cuomo in this, we talk about those political parties in New York City.
Yeah.
Cuomo created his own this year.
Right.
So he already has it out there that potentially, if he were to get beat in this Democratic primary, he's got a place to run in the fall. And by the way, his father, almost 50 years ago, ran for New York City mayor, lost the Democratic primary, ran on a third-party line. That has been done in the Cuomo family.
Well,
Yeah, that's the thing that I've been trying to get New Yorkers to understand. My father was ruled by a Cuomo. I was ruled by a Cuomo. And now they're asking me to be ruled by another Cuomo. This is political dynasty shit. This is like kings passing it down to their kids. It never fucking ends. It never fucking ends.
Important you remind us of that great history. Steve Kornacki.
In spite of Koofs. Thank you for the $5 donation, Amy. In spite of Koofs. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah, guys. Israel arms ISIS. Koofs is not going to like this. Yeah. So, Koofs, more info is coming out of Israel that the Israelis armed ISIS back when us Americans were fighting against them. What's your opinion on that? How do you think of that? What do you think of that, Koofs? No shit? Yep. Israeli lawmaker Avigdor Lieberman alleged Netanyahu is now supporting a new militia to counter Hamas. Sources told Haaretz last week that an armed group tied to Yasser Abu Shabab has recently begun operating in the southern. $20 donation from Missing Space. Crazy how Koofs is such an alpha, yet is absolutely shaken in his boots at hearing another language. Yeah, no, it's pathetic. Israel is providing weapons to a jihadist group in the Gaza Strip affiliated with ISIS. Opposition lawmakers and former defense minister Avigdor Lieberman said Thursday. So on to the allegations. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel is working to defeat Hamas in various ways on the recommendation of all head security established. Okay, so they're not even denying it. So Koofs, what do you think of this? They're not even denying it. What do you think of that, Koofs? Or is this fake liberal media? Where's the proof? Israel will never do that. They did it. In an interview with Conbet Public Radio, Lieberman said, similar to how Netanyahu propped up Hamas as a counterweight to the PA, he is now helping establish a new armed force as a counterweight to Hamas. Last week, two sources told Haaretz that a new militia had recently begun operating in the southern Gaza Strip, saying it is linked to a man identifying himself as Yasser Abu Shabab. Videos circulating on social media in recent days appear to support the claim, showing armed Palestinians in Gaza wearing standard military gear, including vests, helmets, and insignia such as the Palestinian flag and a patch labeled Anti-Terror Service in both English and in Arabic. So, again, Koofs, what do you think about Israel arming ISIS? This is all fine and dining, but I dominate you and Eddie. Eddie, you will never dominate me in Shavusi. You will never... Careful, Ed. My mods will ban you. Don't ever ban Ed, but you can mute him for a second. Ed, my mods will throw you in the fucking dunce corner if you copy and paste messages like that. Like that. Like that. Bang! He's in the corner. He's in the fucking corner. Like that. You didn't ban him, right, Nelson? You just put him in the corner for like a minute? You didn't ban him, right? You just put him in the corner, right? All right, good. So, Coops, what do you think about Israel arming ISIS to fight against the United States? What do you think about that? How could Israel do something like that? They're a terrorist organization. Israel is a terrorist state. Benjamin Netanyahu has an arrest warrant for being a war criminal. What the fuck are you talking about? Well, I'm an American, so Mercia first. Well, Koofs, do you still support Israel blindly like you have every single time you've ever stepped foot in this fucking live stream? Do you still blindly support Israel? No? Oh, nice. Finally jumped ship. So type out, say Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. Type out Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. Welcome back, Eddie. Welcome back, Eddie. Yeah, no, there's no way he could spell Netanyahu. No fucking shot he knows how to spell Netanyahu. I'll take it. That's the best spelling of Netanyahu I've ever fucking seen. Good boy. All right, now say Israel is committing a genocide. Now type out Israel is committing a genocide. Type out Israel is committing a genocide. Ew, no. Why? They are committing a genocide. They are. Do you even know what a genocide is? Genocide is defined as acts committed with the intent to destroy in whole or in part a nation, ethnic, racial, or religious group. This definition is enshrined in international law, notably in the United Nations Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Just so you understand, Koofs, this is the most well-documented genocide in human history. Every single genocide expert on planet Earth agrees that this is a genocide. Literally every single one of them. Benjamin Netanyahu has been tried with the crime of genocide. Charged with the crime of genocide.
If you're clearing out an entire people based on their ethnicity from where they live, that to me...
So this is important because Piers Morgan has defended Israel's genocide for a very long time, but now that the tide is turning and it's becoming undeniable, even he's abandoning ship, and he had on some Israeli lawyer and he fucking popped off on her.
To me, is a form of genocide.
The Israelis, including the highest levels of the Israeli government, they just speak out of both sides of their mouth the whole time. And so it's like, which argument are we even taking on?
The disgusting situation that we are now left with. The fact that
when Israel and when the Israeli government, let me phrase that correctly, when the Israeli government ordered...
I can't even see every message from Koofs. What the fuck did he say?
3 months ago, a blockade of food and aid going into Gaza.
Yes.
That is a deliberate state-sponsored form of starving a populace.
No, it is not, because it
That's
was
exactly
done...
what happened. That's why they look like they're starving. That's why they're risking death
Yes, you've asked me
to
on
get
here.
to scrabbling bits of food.
Forgive me. You've asked me on here to answer these questions.
Yeah, and I can challenge you.
And I just explained that blockade, which was imposed in order to prevent Hamas continuing to fuel its war machine by selling additional aid, that it was diverting, and we'll come on to the way that diversion...
There has been literally no evidence that Hamas has been stealing food from these aid trucks. Not one shred of evidence.
...to be prevented in the future, I hope. But the fact of the matter is that this blockade was instituted in the context of there being 5 to 6 months, maybe even 8 months of aid that was facilitated into the Gaza Strip. And throughout, if you'll allow me to finish this point, throughout the war, the volume of aid that Israel has facilitated into Gaza, and this is not being reported by the international media, but it is available, publicly available information published by COGAT, over 1,700,000 tons of aid which has been facilitated into the Gaza Strip, which is more than required for the civilian population. The study that was conducted...
Why are they so hungry then?
The study that was conducted...
Hang on, why are they so hungry?
May I finish this point and I'll come on to answer your question.
Why are they so hungry?
Well, why
are they stampeding over each other, risking death to get at scraps of food? I don't understand. If they're all so well-nourished and Israel's behaved so impeccably properly in terms of supplying enough food for months on end, why do they all look like they're starving to death and are prepared to risk actually dying to get at food?
What you are basing your assessment on, I'm afraid...
It's what I'm seeing with my own eyes.
Which is Hamas propaganda, which you must accept as...
No, just don't believe your lying eyes, guys. All of those starving people begging for food, getting shot at when they finally make it to the fucking cornucopia like it's goddamn Hunger Games. That's just Hamas propaganda. Right, Koofs? The 14,000 starving infants are just Hamas propaganda, right, Koofs?
No, it's actually footage. I'm watching news footage of thousands of people fighting with each other to get at food. Some of whom ended up dying, some of whom ended up being shot. The IDF says it wasn't them and it was Hamas. We don't know who did it because, as you know, the Israeli government has banned all international journalists from being anywhere near this to verify what is actually happening.
IDK, man? Oh, I do, Coops. I think that starving 14,000 infants to death is fucking horrible. But you, because you're a subhuman fucking rat, you can't even come to a conclusion on whether that's good or bad. Fuck you, you pathetic oxygen thief. I'm gonna go get the dog.
Piers Morgan, you're not allowing me to answer a single question.
I am. No, and then when you say something that I don't agree with, I'm challenging you.
I'm sure I'm going to say a lot that you don't agree with because, unfortunately, your assessment is being based on misinformation, like these false reports we've had today of Israel shooting 31 Palestinians attempting to get to food. That was run, and Ambassador Mike Huckabee has criticised this resoundingly in a statement just now. That was run in the context of the Associated Press, CNN, many media outlets. And it was entirely false because it is, as has been the case previously.
Well, hang on. The Israeli government says it was entirely false. What we have had... Sorry, just to correct you.
It's not just the Israeli government.
Sorry to jump in again.
No, it's also the Gaza Humanitarian
Israel
Foundation.
has done one of its own reports because journalists aren't allowed to verify this independently. So Israel investigates itself and has decided it did nothing wrong.
I'm not referring to Israel's investigation.
Hang on. What we do know is that a number of doctors and hospital spokesmen and charity spokesmen have all said that there were many people killed and many more people wounded, taken to hospitals, and they saw the bodies and they saw the wounded. So somebody was killing and wounding a lot of Palestinians. You say it was Hamas. Hamas say it was the IDF. We, the international media, cannot verify this because
Israel will not allow independent media into the fucking zone. Israel refuses to let any foreign journalist report in Israel or in Gaza on this situation. Not one. The only people who are allowed to report on this are Israeli Hasbara propagandists.
Allow us in to do our job.
That's not why this reporting has been conducted on such a false basis. It's because nothing coming out of the Gaza Strip is able to be reported without Hamas control. And you, as part of the international media peers, will know this. It is
I also know that
consistent.
Historically, Israel has accepted
Maybe I'm
that
wrong.
the health...
Didn't Greta visit Palestine? Greta Thunberg got on a flotilla that was supposed to bring aid to Gaza. When she was going to get on that flotilla, Senator Lindsey Graham of the United States tweeted out, "I hope Greta can swim." Because of that threat of violence, Greta decided not to get on that boat. The boat was then bombed by the fucking Israelis. So no, she's not in Gaza.
Health authorities' numbers, historically, before October the 7th, that they have been broadly accurate. That is the historical position.
You must also know that the assessments of Hamas casualty figures by experts and statisticians have found them to be preposterously inaccurate, fabricated.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you what I asked him.
No, you're not
Well, hang
allowing
on.
me to finish a single
Well, I can
answer.
actually conduct this interview any way I like.
Well, then the viewers aren't going to get any benefit of
the viewers can make their own
She's
mind
still
up
trying,
about what
Chris?
they're hearing.
She shouldn't.
and seeing. When I interviewed the UK ambassador to the UK,
yes,
she was able to tell me
She
definitively.
really shouldn't. Listen, I like Greta Thunberg, but Israel doesn't give a fuck. They'll fucking kill her. They will kill her. Israel does not give a fuck who they kill. They don't give a shit who she is. They will not even hesitate.
The 30,000.
Kuf said Greta Thunberg is a Marxist. Kuf has said that about literally every single person that disagrees with him.
Hamas terrorists have been killed.
I think it was an estimate. Let's be clear.
But she had absolutely no idea, estimate or otherwise, how many children had been killed in the process. Do you know?
There's a very simple logical explanation for that, which is Israel is targeting Hamas and Palestine.
Do you know how many children Israel's killed in the process?
There is a very simple explanation for the reason that we do not know. Because
you
Hamas
only count the terrorists who killed, not the children.
Hear the explanation?
Well, I just ask you, just to be clear, are you saying that the IDF only counts the bodies of terrorists it kills, not innocent children?
Well, the IDF has not been, and this is a shift now, as you would have heard from Jonathan Conricus, has not been in control of any significant part of Gaza to be able to conduct that analysis.
So how does it know how many terrorists it's killing?
Because it is striking them with clear intelligence and targeting those strikes deliberately.
So it counts the bodies of the terrorists, but not the children it kills in the process.
It counts. I'm sorry, this is perfectly logical.
It's actually not logical at all.
It counts.
To anyone watching this, they're thinking, what on earth are these Israelis saying? First the ambassador, now you. What you're saying is that you only count the terrorists that are killed. You don't count the children that are killed in the process of killing the terrorists.
Perhaps
to which it begs the question,
no, I can't provide you with some additional.
You know, she's actually much less aggressive than most Zionists. Most Israeli representatives would say, well, the children are going to grow up to be terrorists, so let's just kill them too. That is usually, I'm not even kidding, that is the Israeli stance. That is what their war minister said. That's what Benjamin Netanyahu said. They've said every single person, including the children, is the enemy. They have said this. That's not hyperbole. So this is not usual for an Israeli representative. The status quo would be for her to say, yes, we do need to kill the kids as well.
Additional analysis.
Why?
If you'll allow me to answer the question, I'll provide you with some additional analysis, which is in relation to the casualty ratios that have been projected.
How do you know the ratios?
I'll explain.
About an hour late.
The casualty ratio throughout the first period of the war, phase 1, was generally put at between 1 to 1 and 1.5 to 1. I'll explain. Since then, in phase 2, because of a very different type of fighting that we're now seeing, there are some estimates that it may have gone up to 2 to 1.
How do you know?
Very simply, that
is... Are you so anti-Semitic, Chris? We've gone over this a million times, Koofs, and you know it. I am anti-Zionist, not anti-Semitic. You are capable of understanding that there is a difference between somebody who practices Judaism and somebody who is Israeli. Those are two different things. There are people in Brooklyn, New York, who have never stepped foot in Israel, and they are Jewish. They are not Israeli. When I criticize the Zionist genocidal government of Israel, that is not anti-Semitic. You know this, and the only attack that you have left is to label any and all attacks against Israel as anti-Semitism. Why is this? This is because you are a subhuman, inferior person. That is why.
Israel has been able to establish...
How do you know if you're not counting?
May I answer the question?
Well, you're not counting the civilians you're killing, so how do you know the ratio?
Well, if you're not going to allow me to
you talk about logic. Let me go to. I want to bring Dave. I don't know.
You just asked me the question.
I've let you speak for a long time. Dave
You
is.
haven't, Piers.
Well, I have, and I'll let you speak again. We've got plenty of time here.
I'm sorry, but
there's not much. No, I'm sorry, but it's my show. I'm going to go to Dave. Dave, I'm told I'm lacking logic here. Is there anything logical about what we're hearing about how they apparently know the exact ratio of terrorists they're killing to civilians, but they don't know how many civilians they're killing? How do you know the ratio?
Pierce, it's just too ridiculous. And as you know, Pierce, and look, I know that you've been, I think, very, as you said before, I don't want to put you on either side of this debate, because I think actually people who are hardcore on either side of this debate probably see you as someone on the other side.
Yeah, they all hate me. The extremists all hate me. That's fine.
No, not all. I didn't mean to say they all hate you. A lot of us like you, Pierce.
They actually do. The ones who are to the extremities on both sides, they all hate me. So that's fine. Tax day has passed, but for millions.
No, he's got a fucking ad.
But I think one of the things that any honest
I'm gonna fill up my coffee real quick.
observer has noticed since the very beginning of this conflict is that the Israelis, including the highest levels of the Israeli government, they just speak out of both sides of their mouth the whole time. And so it's like, which argument are we even taking on? I mean, they'll sit here and say from the very beginning that the goal is just to get the hostages back and to defeat Hamas, while their finance minister is openly talking about how the goal is to cleanse the entire strip.
He's not even hiding it. He says it.
Yes.
He literally says it in front of the world.
Yes. And we see them now putting this into plans into action to do this. So how are we to judge this? They'll sit here and say that they've taken painstaking efforts to make sure that they limit the number of civilians that are killed, while also saying they have no idea how many civilians are being killed, and they don't count the number because that's not who they're targeting. You'll sit here and say we're only targeting Hamas, or that we're only intentionally targeting Hamas, and at the same time.
Real quick, guys, can we get a dono train going in honor of Koofs? Let's get a quick dono train going, guys. Give me some money. Give me some money up in this bitch. Help your boy out. Let's get a little money train going. So let's get some hype trains going. I didn't even set a goal, you know? Why don't I set a fucking goal real quick, huh? Why don't I set a goal? It's not me. Ain't not me. Ain't not my enemy. In your head, they are fighting. Zombie. Sorry. Setting up a goal, 2 truths and a lie. Start goal. Got a $10 donation for Missing Space. I'll kick us off. Hashtag fuck Koofs. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Got another $5 donation from Sam. First again. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We got another $2 donation from Amy. Chris, do you like YJS3? I don't know what that is, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Think about the argument they're even making, as Smotrich is out bragging about how not one grain of wheat will get into Gaza for this 3-month period that you're referring to. But they'll say, hey, look, they have stockpiles of aid that had gone in there previously. It's like, okay, Piers, so then logically, can't we deduce you're not starving Hamas? They've got plenty of food.
You racist fuck. You talking about me?
Additional blockade supposed to impact.
Just kidding, Mason.
It's the civilian population. And so, listen, I'm sorry, this is just anybody.
DNC money. You hear it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Koofs, give you some more of that DNC money. Ladies and gentlemen, every single one of you is George Soros. Could I get some money from George Soros? Proud of Koofs are coming out to us. Yes. Can I get some George Soros money sent to me as soon as possible, please? We need some DNC cash.
Just common sense and a basic understanding of logic could tell you that none of these defense.
Oaf says, no more Red Dessler. Everything is not computer. Couple of bucks for Koofs' re-education. Oh, yeah. All of this money, by the way, is going to go into putting together re-education camps where we will forcefully put all MAGA voters into these re-education camps. They will stay there for 1 decade and they will come out as better persons. Isn't that something?
make any sense. And instead, I think it's reasonable for us to say that we're going to judge the Israeli government, and I like that you were precise about that. We're talking about
let me keep it going. We are going to force all MAGA voters to stay in these re-education camps where they will be tagged on their ears like little piggies, right? With numbers, right? And we will force them to learn that they voted for a fascist. We will force them to watch all of the videos of Donald Trump admitting that he wants to destroy the Constitution. We got a $50 donation from Nelson Snow. I was in a blunt rotation with AOC. She told me that she's a big fan and to give you this. Thank you for the $50 donation, Nelson Snow. We're going to keep that money going in. Shout out George Soros. Thank you for all of the donations.
Government of a foreign country, not people who believe in Judaism across the world, and not even necessarily the people of that country. But when I'm judging the Israeli government, I'm sorry, I'm going to judge them based off what their actions are, and I'm going to judge them based off what their motives are when they admit the truth.
Yeah.
And so you could sit here and say,
by the way, guys, every dollar that is sent to me will be spent on a necromancy kit so we can go to the grave of Karl Marx and resurrect him so that he can finally rule over the end stage of capitalism. Thank you for the $5 donation, Cat, for our favorite hate watcher, Koofs. Remember, guys, the more money we get, the closer we get to resurrecting Karl Marx, our Lord and Savior.
Oh, we're doing everything we can to prevent the children the number of children dying, and then brag about the ratio. But at the same time,
in the name of Karl Marx and Vladimir Lenin, Yagotovati Church, comrade, big mummy milkers.
Tell me you don't even know the number of children who are dying. The bottom line here, and this is why global opinion is turning against Israel, is the level of human suffering that is being inflicted by Israel on the people of Gaza is evil. It is pure freaking evil, and it doesn't need to be done this way. And if you think you can get away with this with a decentralized media and with smartphones and with 4K high def images and with the ability through
For
social
the Karl Marx Necronomicon Fund, thank you very much. You know, but this guy's also making a valid point, which is it is insane for Israel to try and deny this stuff when it is being live streamed in 4K.
Media today for people to communicate in a non-controlled environment. Good freaking luck, man. This is going to end up so bad for everyone. It's already ended up so bad for the poor people of Gaza. But I just can't. I'm truly stunned, Pierce, and I'm sure you are too. I am stunned by the lack of rational self-preservation on the part of the Israelis. Like, read the room here. You are turning the entire world against you. And
well, the thing is, the Israelis don't care if the entire world is against them because they are an ethno-state. They genuinely believe that they were chosen by God and that they cannot do wrong. That's just simply baked into their beliefs, right? If there was ever a nation that was stupid enough to use their nuclear arsenal, it is, without a doubt, Israel. They believe they're the chosen ones.
I do not understand why they would choose to do this.
Yeah, I mean, look, Natasha, I was editor of the Daily Mirror 20 years ago when we launched a long campaign to stop this country, the UK, going to war in Iraq, which I thought was an illegal invasion of a sovereign country. And it made me very unpopular with the then Labour government, led by Tony Blair, because we were the Labour-supporting newspaper. My point being, my argument then was not with the people of the United Kingdom. My argument was with the government of the United Kingdom making a decision which I felt was illegal and wrong, probably constituted war crimes, and it turned out to be a complete unmitigated disaster that led to 20 more years of mayhem in the Middle East, including the rise of ISIS and all the hell that they brought with them.
I'm Christian, so I have to support Israel. Real quick, Koofs, I don't even want to bully you here. Can you explain to me how that works? Don't even bully him. Guys, don't bully him for a second. Koofs, genuinely try to have an intellectual conversation with me. How does that work? What do you mean? You're Christian, therefore you must support Israel? Please explain that. Koof said, what about the Israels in the Bible? The Jews are the chosen people still. Okay, so here's the thing. Koofs. The Bible was written 2,000 years ago. It was written hundreds of years after Jesus died. I'm asking you a very, very simple question. Why does you being a Christian mean that you must support every action Israel takes? I don't understand. How does that work? Thanks for giving me something to watch while I do my makeup, Chris. I love you. Please don't go bald. Thank you, Amy, and I will not go bald. I just don't understand. I don't think Koofs understands. I don't think Koofs has an explanation as per why he must support Israel. Isn't in the Bible to love thy neighbor? Yeah. There's plenty of shit in the Bible that Christians don't follow. Koofs beats his meat to Israeli propaganda. Yeah, no, he literally fucking goons to Hasbro. Deadass. Gooning to Hasbro goes crazy. I don't think Koofs wants to understand. No, I want to understand. I want to understand how somebody who is a Christian can say that they have to support every action Israel takes. I have to know. I have to understand this. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Unless he's an evangelical Christian that believes in the rapture, there's no other explanation. Koofs, are you an evangelical Christian that believes in the rapture? Yeah, he denounced Israel like 15 minutes ago. I'm a Catholic. Yeah, Catholics don't praise Israel. Evangelical Christians praise Israel. So, wait, Koofs. I was raised Christian. I was an altar boy. I studied theology in college. I most likely know more about your own religion than you do. Let me ask you this, Koofs. Do you support Israel because you believe that the Jews need to own all of Greater Israel in order for Jesus Christ to return? Is that why you support Israel? Catholic and Christian are not different. Catholic is a branch of Christianity. Koofs, is that why you support Israel? Yeah, I did hear about the aid boat going to Palestine. I did. I was raised as a Christian. None of my family supports Israel. Your religion has absolutely nothing to do with supporting Israel. Koofs. 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 Goof. You guys want to hear my impression of a helicopter? Fadoof, 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 fadoof. Yeah, Koofs doesn't even have a fucking explanation.
So this, just to be clear again, I do not have an argument with Jewish people or with Israelis. I totally understand why after October the 7th, so many people in Israel felt so vulnerable, felt so angry, felt so distressed, so heartbroken by the devastating loss. 250-odd people kidnapped and taken hostage.
Now, Koofs is asking ChatGPT, saying, why must I support Israel? I am Catholic. That's what he's doing right now.
Babies and Holocaust survivors. Over 1,200 people murdered, 7,000 wounded by 3,000 terrorists breaking over a border to attack anyone they got their hands on. I don't need reminding of what happened that day. That is why I defended Israel's right to defend itself so staunchly. But I cannot defend what is happening now. What is happening now is militarily inexplicable to most people I've spoken to in the military. I have a lot in my family. Nobody understands what Israel's goal is here, other than flattening Gaza and kicking off. Hang on. As Smodrich has said, it is to take over and clear out Gaza of all the Palestinians. That is genocide, isn't it? Unless, I mean, you're a lawyer. No, you tell me.
Israel's war aims have been clear from the outset, which is the destruction of Hamas.
They haven't done that.
And the return of the hostages. Well, because the war's not over yet.
You haven't done either of those things. All you're doing is killing more and more civilians, and you've been starving them.
Well, but who's you? Forgive me. I'm here as a lawyer.
The Israeli government, and you're here to defend it, right?
No, I'm here to defend the rule of law and the weaponization of international law, which has been consistent throughout this process. The propaganda that we're discussing right now, which is clearly what has shifted your position and perspective on this,
what do you mean by propaganda?
Deeply dangerous. Calling Israel a committer of genocide, or saying
Israel is committing a genocide.
That it is starving children.
Well, actually, the people alleging that Israel's committing war crimes are two former Israeli prime ministers.
Who have their own political agendas here, let's be
clear. How convenient that two former prime ministers of the country.
Yeah, the Israeli representatives have said that anybody who accuses Israel of genocide is actually committing blood libel. You hear that? That's blood libel.
Yeah.
Have said that you are committing, as a government, not you, but the government is committing war crimes, and you dismiss it as just a bit of internal politics.
Well, no, it's a very serious matter that the misinformation that I would like to be able to come on to address is now also being propagated by two very sore individuals, Prime Minister Olmert, because he also served a prison sentence, and has...
Wow, she's literally throwing shade at their own former vice prime minister. Last one didn't go through for some reason, so here it goes again. Get yourself a new chair, free Palestine. Thank you, Ali. I appreciate that.
Had his entire proposed peace framework, that of essentially creating a Palestinian state in East Jerusalem and the West Bank, turned upside down by the realization, and he hasn't had, unfortunately, the temerity after the 7th of October to recognize the risk that he would have put Israel to in light of the Hamas takeover.
And when you see, as we saw, and when you see, Natasha...
I was answering the previous question.
Okay, but let me just, on the point of legality, actually it's very productive, on the point of legality, only last week, the Israeli government announced new settlements, 22 settlements.
Well, no, can we pause?
Well, hang on. Yes. On the West Bank, 22 settlements, which the international community views as illegal. They announced 22 new settlements. As a lawyer, given your adherence to the point of law, presumably you would condemn that.
Well, this is exactly why we need to be clear about how international law applies and why the notion of these so-called illegal settlements is a misnomer.
You don't think they are?
It's not a legal term, it's a political term, and it is part and parcel of a misapplication of international law to the status of the territory. These blood libels, occupation, ethnic cleansing, colonialism,
so you think the settlements are not illegal?
And genocide are all part and parcel of the propaganda, which I would like to be able to come on to, because all of the evidence goes in completely the opposite direction. In terms of Israel's compliance with the laws of armed conflict and its in the amount of steps that Israel...
By the way, this evil cunt is going to burn in hell.
...takes. Unprecedented in the history of armed conflict, and military commanders
that's just a load of bullshit. I'm sorry, it just is.
Which is this woman? What's her fucking name? Natasha what? Where are we? Okay. Natasha Hasdorf, if you're ever going to see this, you're going to burn in hell. You're an evil cunt.
It just is. Which other war in recent times have you had half the population is under 18?
Thank you for the 27 South African donation, I think, or Swedish. I don't even know. When you run Make Beans your VP, I will.
You killed 20,000 kids in 20 months.
Those figures are Hamas figures that you are constantly
give me an example of where this morality has been played out elsewhere.
Well, I was explaining earlier that the Hamas figures are inflated, that there are internal inconsistencies.
How convenient for you. But you don't know what the figures are, so how do you know?
But because there have been independent studies.
How do you know how many figures are inflated or otherwise? You don't know how many have been killed.
Because we know Hamas lies. It is an internationally prescribed terrorist organisation.
Well, some might think you're lying because you say on one hand, I don't know how many children have been killed, but on the other hand, and that's a blood libel if you say we've killed any of them, but on the other hand...
That's not what I said, no.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you know all about the ratios and you know how humane the Israeli forces are being, but you don't know how many they're killing.
Because even on Hamas figures, which we know to be false, which do not make distinctions between
civilians and
they're false. We do, because they're...
How do you know they're false?
Because Hamas said them. That's literally the argument that Israel's saying, is that any statistic that comes out of Palestine is false. That is what Israel has said for years. Reason being, well, Hamas runs the health ministry, so anything that comes out of Palestine, Israel says it's a lie, it's propaganda, it's false. Meanwhile, everything they say is real and true. And don't you find it interesting that there isn't one single statistic that has come out of Palestine that the Israelis have said is correct? Not fucking one of them.
How many have been killed?
Because Hamas has even itself revised those figures down and acknowledged that they are false. And the UN is still touting.
So how many
false
children has
figures on
Israel
that.
killed?
If we go back to the
Can
question...
you answer my question?
If you go back to the ratio...
Do you know
question,
my...
No, but I can tell you the ratio, even on the basis of Hamas figures.
You can tell me the ratio without... But how do you know if you don't know how many have died?
I can tell you the ratio even on the basis of the false Hamas
So you've
figures.
no idea how many have been killed, but you can tell me the ratio.
I can tell you the ratio.
You're a smart lawyer. Do you not understand how ridiculous that sounds? If we were in a courtroom now, you would be demolished by a fellow lawyer. They would say, what are you
starting to panic now, you dumb fucking cunt?
Courtroom etiquette is conducted, I'm afraid. I would be permitted
Actually, some
to
of my favourite lawyers conduct them exactly like this.
I would be permitted to finish a sentence. The reason we can say that the ratio before the ceasefire was 1 to 1 or 1.15 to 1 is on the basis even of Hamas figures.
Well, 1 to 1 or 5 to 1? Which one was it?
1 to 1 to 1.5 to 1. At different points in that period, those were the two separate estimates.
Studies show
And that is on the basis of
to know that, you'd have to know how many innocent people you've killed as well.
That is on the basis of the false Hamas figures. So the reality is that the expectation would be the ratio is
you don't
in fact
believe
lower
that.
than
So
that.
what is the number?
The reality is that the expectation would be the numbers are even less than that. That, in any event, is unprecedented in the history of urban armed conflict. So it puts the lie to all of these accusations that we have been hearing. And the reason, let me finish this sentence, if you will. The reason that it is so terrible, that it is so dangerous that these lies are being spread about Israel, that even you and other respected international journalists have begun to propagate them, is that it is having a direct
calling me
impact.
a liar?
No, that you have been taken in by them.
Really?
Is because it is having a direct impact on the safety of Jews around the world. We've seen the impact of 14...
Benjamin Netanyahu's actions aren't impeding the safety of Jews across the world, because let me say one thing, and let me make this abundantly clear. When you say,
I, Benjamin Netanyahu, I represent Jews worldwide, and every action that Israel takes is representative of Jews worldwide.
Well, what that means is when you bomb children and fucking snipe them through the brain, then anti-Semites across the fucking world are gonna go, hey, told you, we told you the Jews are evil. Meanwhile, this has nothing to do with the Jew in Brooklyn. This has nothing to do with the Jew in Germany. This has everything to do with the genocidal actions of a maniac, Benjamin Netanyahu. Every single day, the Israelis make Jews less safe by committing heinous acts in the name of Judaism. A fucking child could understand this. Let me just rephrase this, okay? Imagine, I don't know, a black American, an African American, starts some giant terrorist organization and starts bombing white kids, and then that African American says, everything I do is in the name of black culture, right? Then black people across the United States would start to get targeted even though they didn't do fucking anything, because this genocidal maniac said everything I do represents black people. How does this not fucking get into the brain? How does this not get into the brain?
In 48 hours, when 2 Israeli staffers were murdered, executed on the streets of DC. Only yesterday, we saw a fire attack.
What was the link? What was the link there? Are you saying
the
that
fact
the person?
That 2 days after,
are you
Tom
saying
Fletcher,
the person that perpetrated that appalling murder was actually even aware of the story you're talking about? You're drawing a direct link.
The Chicagoan that committed that murder shouted "Free Palestine," and this is for Gaza.
You mentioned something about 48,000 babies.
2 days after that full story went around the world.
It was a full story because the idiot that came out with it should have known better. I didn't promote that in any way at all, other than to say.
But you are promoting false allegations of starvation and targeting civilians.
No, I'm promoting.
These are not false allegations. Israel is starving people to death. Israel is responsible for the starvation of fucking tens of thousands of Palestinians, primarily children. I'll say it confidently. Yeah. Israel is committing a genocide. Israel is slaughtering children. Israel is an evil nation. Israel is the closest nation that resembles Nazi Germany in modern history. Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal, and Israel does not have the right to exist as a Jewish state. They have the right to exist equally and fairly as every other state, but no, not as a Jewish state. No nation deserves or is entitled to exist as an ethno-state, especially if they have fucking nuclear weapons. I'm an American. I believe in a separation of church and state. I don't believe in apartheid. I don't believe in racism. I don't believe in religious zealotry. I don't give a fuck if you're the Vatican, Iran, or Israel. You do not have the right to exist as a theocratic nation. That's not gonna fucking happen.
The fact that Israel's government launched a 3-month blockade, which has led
without
to
the context
people
of 25,000 tons of trucks of aid having been provided before that.
Dave.
Facts without context are misleading.
All right, Dave, we're a bunch of deluded clowns who are being misled. Israel's government is telling the whole truth here. Everyone else is lying or being taken in by lies.
Yeah, it's just like, look, the
and
logical contradictions
we're putting
here.
Jews in danger by promoting these lies.
You know,
you're a Jewish guy.
Yes, I am, and maybe I'll respond to that. Well, first of all, I'll just say that even the idea, like as you hear these arguments, Pierce, where they'll say like, well, we know these numbers that the Gaza Health Ministry puts out are lies because we know Hamas lies, and look, the proof of that is that they revised their numbers down at one point. But doesn't that just kind of lead to the question, Pierce? Then, like, why would they revise their numbers down if they're just lying? Why? Yeah, right. Why wouldn't they just stick with the original numbers that they had?
In fact, the buzzword of the debate.
It's what always happens with the pro-Israel people is like they use what is a point on my side as a point on their side.
And by the way, I wouldn't trust Hamas as far as I could bloody throw.
The Vatican is symbolic, Chris. They have no military. Only the Pope and other members of the church live there. Yeah, that's why out of all of the theocratic nations, the Vatican is the one that I disrespect the least. I don't like the Vatican, but I'll say this. The Pope doesn't have an army. The Pope doesn't have a fucking nuclear weapon. The Pope isn't trying to conquer neighboring Italy. You know what I'm saying? There is a clear distinction between the way that the theocratic nation of Vatican City operates and the theocratic nation of Israel operates. Can't you, Koofs, can't even you see a ginormous difference in the way that the Vatican operates and the way that Israel operates? You have to see that. You have to be able to see that difference. Yeah, so Koofs, wouldn't you say then that if Israel wants to be a theocratic nation, if Israel wants to be a religious theocracy, then they should give up their entire military and all of their nuclear weapons? Just like the Vatican. Would you agree there, Koofs? Happy Pride Month, everybody. Happy Pride Month. The Pope doesn't have nukes. He has thermonuclear nukes. I've got the power of enemy and God on my side.
them, right? They're a bunch of despicable death cult murderers, right? Just to be crystal clear. I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them. And yet, historically, their figures through this health authority in this conflict.
The difference is if Israel did that, the Muslim countries would slaughter Israel. Are you saying that if the Israelis stopped slaughtering Muslims, that the Muslims would start slaughtering Israelis? Is that what you're saying?
Decades have turned out to be reasonably accurate. I know that because Israel has accepted them over the years.
And Pierce, as you know, because I've been coming on your show for a long time now, I've always said the same thing too. I also don't really trust the Gaza Health Ministry. I'm just making the point that them revising the numbers down would be a point of evidence that they're being honest, not a point of evidence that you can't trust them. But look, I will just say this, okay? And Pierce, again, because I've been coming on your show, I've done a lot of these debates, over the last year and a half or so. I would never, if you remember, there was this example of the guy in Florida who is being charged with attempted murder right now because he shot 2 people who he thought were Palestinians. Turned out they weren't. He was wrong. But I would never use that as an example in one of these debates and say, aha, pro-Israel person, you're responsible for that.
Right.
I'm a free market libertarian, free market capitalist.
That's what Zionists and also conservatives are incapable of coming to terms with, which is you can give a single anecdotal evidence of some lunatic committing some heinous act in the name of whatever movement. That still doesn't represent the movement. And my favorite example of this are mass shooters. 93% of mass shooters in the United States of America are white Christian men. You don't see me running around going, all white Christian men are mass shooters. All white Christian men are going to commit a mass shooting. Why? Because that's fucking insane. That's illogical. That is a massive jump that you would have to be mentally stunted to make that jump. So when you hear a story about somebody who commits an act of terror on Jewish people shouting Free Palestine, you can't attribute that malice to the entire movement. And if you do that, it means you're intellectually inferior. It means you're incredibly disingenuous. That's what it means. White men, but Christian and no, Koofs, facts don't care about your feelings. 90+% of all mass shootings in the United States are committed by white Christian men. Facts don't care about your feelings, Koofs. But again, you don't see me saying all white Christian men are mass shooters. That's just not how my brain operates because I'm smart. I'm educated. I know how statistics work.
There was a Bernie Sanders fan who shot up a congressional baseball game several years back. I would never use that in an argument and say, you're responsible for that, because it's the cheapest, lamest form of argument. You are not responsible if you're telling the truth as you see it, for some crazy person committing a horrific act of violence. We're talking about,
Here, let me give Koofs an example that I think he'll be able to relate to. Koofs, there's 160 people in this chat right now, right? Right, Koofs? No, guys, there's 160 people in this chat right now, right, Koofs? Thank you for the $2 donation, Amy. Okay, Koofs. Let's just say, hypothetically, one person in this chat committed some heinous act of violence, right? Well, you're in this chat too. Should that act of violence be attributed to you as well because you're also in the chat? You're one of us. I know you're here because you hate me, but you're one of us. Should you also be attributed to that malice? No? Okay, so you're capable of understanding that when one person in a group does something heinous, it doesn't represent the entire group, right? You're capable of understanding that. And frankly, okay, so Koofs, are all people who support Free Palestine terrorists? Is everybody who stands for a Free Palestine a terrorist? No. Oh, fantastic. So then here's the last thing. Do Israel's actions, the government of Israel, let's say Benjamin Netanyahu, do Benjamin Netanyahu's actions represent the entirety of Judaism? Meaning that when Benjamin Netanyahu does something evil, can you blame all Jews? Can you do that, Koofs? Should you do that? No, of course not. Okay, welcome to the movement. Welcome to the movement. You no longer believe that Israel actually represents Jewish people. Welcome to the movement, Koofs. Welcome to the movement. We'll make a socialist out of you yet.
Innocent people being killed for over 20 months at this point now. So like that's what the whole conversation is about. But the idea that any of us are responsible. Look, here's the bottom line, Pierce. I understand Natasha wants to sit here and say, the reason you've changed your mind is because you've fallen for the propaganda. You've fallen for the lies. The reason why everyone is so outraged is because they're falling for these propaganda. The truth is that the reason why Pierce and so many people around the world are turning on what the Israeli government is doing.
Again, I like Trump, Israel, not really. Koofs, you literally said, I'm Christian, therefore I must support Israel. That's what you said.
Because it's just so freaking horrible, because we're seeing images every day of children suffering through an ungodly fate. We all sit there and think, my God, if those were our kids. It's a pure reaction to witnessing evil. And you got to sit here and spin the fact that
was
this
a
is all
joke,
propaganda,
bro.
or it's
No, it wasn't. You just feel stupid now, so you're trying to cover your ass.
all lies. I mean, look, I admire you being a lawyer and trying to defend your client. I guess that's what lawyers got to do, no matter how guilty your client is. Pierce, if I'm ever charged with murder, get this lady to represent me. So that's who I want on my team. But the bottom line is that two former Israeli prime ministers are not falling for propaganda.
And you know what,
it's
Dave?
just that
you know
at
what?
this point,
one of them,
they can't deny it.
Right, and one of them, Ehud Olmert, he said to me that he thinks Netanyahu, A, should have resigned by now, but B, will be in The Hague one day being held accountable for these war crimes. And, I mean, I guess my question for you, Natasha, you're a lawyer. Would you be prepared to defend him if Netanyahu appeared at The Hague?
Great question.
We're talking about the International Criminal Court.
Would you be prepared to defend him?
No, well, let me be clear about the context, because this is important. We're talking about the International Criminal Court, which has no jurisdiction in this matter because Israel is not a party to the ICC, and Palestine...
Oh, so the International Criminal Court just doesn't matter because Israel doesn't respect them. The International Criminal Court, where we charged the Nazis at the Nuremberg trials? What if Germany just was like, actually, we do not respect the International Criminal Court. Therefore, we did not commit genocide. We did not commit Holocaust because the International Criminal Court is not recognized. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Are you fucking serious?
Is not a state. It clearly made significant errors on prior determinations of jurisdiction on the basis of an accession document, supposedly by the Palestinian Authority, which was never circulated. That was one of the primary planks of its decision in 2021, which has fallen away. It is proceeded on this basis in contravention of its own rules, that of complementarity, and on an entirely false basis. So my organisation, UK...
This woman refuses to answer whether she would represent Benjamin Netanyahu as he's tried for war crimes at The Hague. Why? Because she knows she would lose. There's no defending Benjamin Netanyahu. There's a reason why he's kept this war going, and it's because Netanyahu is aware that as soon as he ends this genocide, he's going to get removed from office. He's going to get arrested. Here's the thing, though. As long as Trump is the president, Benjamin Netanyahu can fly to the United States and buy some sort of fucking unit in Mar-a-Lago and be defended by Secret Service. That's what will most likely happen. If this genocide comes to a close during Trump's second term, Netanyahu will probably be removed from office, and then he will fly to Mar-a-Lago and will spend the rest of his days living comfortably on the beaches in Mar-a-Lago. That is the most likely end to this situation.
Lawyers for Israel has put out a review of Karim Khan's application for warrants, which demonstrated that every phrase of every sentence of that document was false. In that context, we're not seeing an international criminal court anymore. We're seeing a political body which is seeking to rehabilitate itself by going after the leaders of the world's Jewish state because of its abysmal
Is there anyone who
reputation.
criticises the Israeli government that you don't think is doing so for political reasons or because they're being deluded by lies?
Oh my goodness, yes.
In other words, is anybody actually acting, do you think, with any integrity when they criticise the Israeli government?
Within Israel.
Because you make it sound like everyone's either stupid, deluded, or politically motivated.
Within Israel, there is the most vibrant political debate and criticism that you will see anywhere. What I'm calling out are the lies and the falsehoods and the blood libels that are being propagated. And those
I was
that
told
are
by the
interested-
ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this
No,
war.
I don't believe that was the case. I
There
think it
was.
was to do with targeting children.
No.
And there is a difference.
Right.
Because we are hearing that Israel is targeting children, and that couldn't be further from the fact.
No, you are targeting children. All of the doctors in Gaza said it is... First of all, let me explain something. Israel has the best snipers on planet Earth. Israel has the best snipers on planet Earth. Every single doctor in Gaza has come out and said that they have never seen so many children double tapped. Now, what is double tapping? Double tapping is shooting somebody once with a kill shot, like the heart or the head, and then double tapping and hitting them again, just to really ensure that they are fucking dead. So what the best snipers on planet Earth have been doing is shooting children once in the fucking brain and then again in the heart. If that's not targeting children, I don't know what is. I don't know what is.
9 out of 10 children in one home where 2 doctors reside were killed in an airstrike.
Well,
Was that? What was
isn't it
that?
remarkable?
Well, what was that?
That has been based only on the basis of hearsay.
You don't
and
believe that
secondhand
story?
Information. I want these stories.
Wait a minute. You don't believe
Yes.
that those children were killed?
I have seen conflicting accounts, and I want that story to be properly investigated
Wow.
before the international.
Oh, so this woman just lied about her 9 children being incinerated, and then her fighting tooth and nail to try and save one of her children's lives. This woman was a doctor in a hospital performing surgery on children, and then her own children came in, blown to fucking smithereens. 8 of them a pile of rubble. 8 of them just a pile of goo. And 1 of them still barely clinging to life. And this brave mother tried to save her own child's life and failed. And you're going to say, fake news. Fake news. You will burn in hell. You will not see the pearly gates. You will be welcomed into the inferno by Satan himself.
Media
Wow.
runs with it. I have
You
a
think
question.
those 2 parents, one of whom I think operated on one of the children,
I have a question.
you think that those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up?
Why are
that
those
9 of their
children
10
there?
children had
Why
been
are
blown
those
to pieces?
children there? She just said. Why are those children there? Zionists are the most evil subhuman people on planet Earth.
This is by an Israeli airstrike.
If this is true,
You don't believe it?
well, why on earth was artificially generated imagery used to promote this story when it first
I
happened?
got to say,
We've seen
Natasha,
time
I
and
think
time
what you've
again-
just said about that
Piers
family
Morgan, we've seen
is despicable.
We've seen time
I'm
and time
sorry,
again.
Yeah, is
it's
that a- is that a
despicable.
blood What is libel?
truly
As somebody, you talk
despicable-
about blood libel, like Dave said. You talk about blood libel. You talk about lies.
All I said,
you talk about
Piers,
promoting
was that there were
propaganda.
conflicting
And here you sit
accounts.
here as a lawyer and you say that you do not believe those 9 children were
I
killed.
didn't say that. You're putting
You
words
did?
in my mouth.
Do you believe it or not?
I said that there were conflicting
Do you
accounts.
believe it
and
or not?
Needs to be
Do you
investigated.
believe it? Do you believe
I thought you would be the
Parents
first
said
person
9
believe
of
it?
their 10 children were killed. Do you
Anna,
believe them?
Pierce, hold her fucking toes to the fire and do not stop saying, do you believe it? Do not stop saying it.
They
Or
haven't
did
said
those
that
2
directly.
doctors make it up?
They haven't said that directly as far as I have seen. I have seen second-hand accounts and hearsay. But it's important to ask, why are these civilians still there? Why is it that
Actually, no, it's
uniquely-
important to ask whether you believe that family have lost 9 of their 10 children.
I want
Actually.
to know why the international
You don't, do
community...
you? You don't. And this goes to the point that I would say about Israel
Why are
generally
these
now in this
Palestinian
war now.
civilians-
Israel says they don't believe anything.
coming out of Hamas.
Every
Indeed.
story that comes out about the deaths of civilians in Gaza,
Because there is a
someone
track
will
record
pop
of
up
lies.
representing the Israeli government saying, it's propaganda. It's not true. I've heard it's not right. I've heard it didn't happen.
Tommy Tough Knuckles over here. Jay, come on, bro. Let's see if you would say that to my face.
And the reason you can get away with it, frankly, is because you won't allow, the Israeli government won't allow, I don't want to keep putting you in the government, but you defend them. The Israeli government refuses to allow international journalists to get in there and do their job and verify whether any of these things are actually happening.
I have been
when
there.
you say they didn't happen.
I can help you with why. I've been there in September and seen a great deal of the Hamas terror infrastructure with my own eyes, including the fact that when we were in Rafah, every second building was being used
Did you see any dead
by
children?
Hamas. No, and this is the important factor.
Why do you think that?
Our movements.
Is that because there aren't any,
No.
or because you were being given a sanitized little tour,
No, we were
which
being-
didn't involve seeing the bodies of dead children?
We were very restricted because of the nature of the battlefield in
What
in
right does the
Gaza.
IDF have to restrict journalists doing their job? In every
well, on
other
the
war I've
basis-
ever been involved in, including sending my Daily Mirror journalists to cover the Iraq war in Baghdad, where they rang me at midnight to ask if they should leave or stay in a hotel, the Baghdad Hilton, I think it was called, before shock and awe arrived. So huge responsibility on my shoulders then about the lives of my journalists, but they were prepared to risk them to report the truth to the wider world. Israel has decided no journalists from outside can go in.
For 3 reasons.
And make that assessment themselves.
Yes.
What right does Israel have to do that?
For 3 reasons. Will you allow me to finish?
Well, there are no reasons.
Well, you've
It's
just
none of
asked
your
me-
business
you've
whether
just-
the journalists view their safety
you
as being at
haven't-
risk.
I'm sorry, you haven't heard the reasons yet. The first, of course, is the safety of the journalists, and I appreciate you don't accept that. The second...
I think it's a load of nonsense.
The second is the
The
safety...
idea you're doing is out of some quaint concern for the safety of journalists is bullshit.
That was reason number one.
Hell
Reason
fucking yes.
Bullshit.
Reason number two is the
These
ability...
better get better.
Is the ability of IDF soldiers to be able to conduct this war against Hamas without...
Without the journalists getting in the way?
No, without...
Don't believe it.
Well, why on earth was artificially
38-55.
generated in Israel? There is the most vibrant political debate and criticism that you will see anywhere. What I am calling out are the lies and the falsehoods and the blood libels that are being propagated. And those
I was
that
told
are
by the
interested-
ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children.
No, I don't believe that was the case.
Yeah,
I think it
was.
was to do with targeting children.
No, integrity.
Well, within
when they
Israel-
criticise the Israeli government.
Within
Okay, we're making a quick video. So Piers Morgan had this genocide apologist named Natasha Hausdorff on his show. Natasha Hausdorff is a lawyer that represents the genocidal nation of Israel. Here's what this evil cunt looks like. There she is. Let me turn off chat so I can really show you her face, and you can make a mental image of it. There she is. And she's on here. Piers Morgan has done a full 180 over the past... I don't know, 2 months, where he can't do it anymore. He can no longer defend Israel. I mean, Israel slaughters babies in mass. Israel is the nation that most resembles Nazi Germany on planet Earth. Israel is an apartheid state with a genocidal maniac by the name of Benjamin Netanyahu, who has an ICC warrant for his arrest because he's a war criminal and he's committing a genocide. Well, this evil Satan spawn of a woman has decided to take it upon herself to defend every last action of Israel. And I've been watching this, and she's claimed that every single statistic that has ever come out of Palestine is false. Every single one. And you're going to watch her claim that this doctor in Gaza, this woman who had 9 children, and her 9 children were blown up and killed, she's going to claim that that woman is lying. Now, mind you, this doctor, one of her own fucking children was brought into the hospital where she performed surgery on her own child to try and save its life. She failed because Israel's bombs are extremely fucking deadly. And we're just going to watch this. So before we do, let me remind you to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it helps me immensely. And also, you should help the channel financially if you support me, because I have no funding. And you could become a patron, you could become a member, you could buy some merch, you could donate to the channel, and you can use a 40% off discount code on Ground News. We are at 66,000 subs, and I'm trying to hit 100,000. I want that YouTube play thing, that play button up on the wall behind me, so make sure you do everything that you got to do. Anyway, let's watch this. Trigger warning, genocide deniers.
Because you make it sound like everyone's either stupid, deluded, or politically motivated.
Within Israel, there is the most vibrant political debate and criticism that you will see anywhere.
Oh, yeah, because Israel is just the perfect nation. It's the best nation.
Out are the lies and the falsehoods and the blood libels that are being propagated.
Yeah, blood libel. They've been throwing this word around. So Israel claims that anybody who accuses Israel of committing genocide is actually committing blood libel, and they're a complete anti-Semite, and they should be sued for defamation. Isn't that something?
And
I was told by the ambassador to UK it was a blood libel for me to suggest that Israel had killed children in this war.
No, I don't believe that was the case.
There
I think it
was.
was to do with targeting children.
No.
There is a difference.
Right.
Because we are hearing that Israel is targeting children, and that...
They are. Let me explain one thing real quick. Israeli snipers are the best snipers on planet Earth. We have also heard every single doctor in Gaza come out and say they have never seen so many children double tapped. Oh, what is double tapping, Chris, you may ask? Well, double tapping is when you shoot your enemy once and then you shoot them again to ensure that they're dead. And what we've been seeing, and every doctor in Gaza has reported, is that the children, the little children, are getting shot through the fucking head and then again in the heart by the best snipers on planet Earth. And don't forget that the Israeli snipers used to wear shirts that had a sniper's scope aiming at a pregnant woman, and it said, 1 shot, 2 kills. Listen, I'll say this again. The IDF is the most evil military on planet Earth, okay? Benjamin Netanyahu is the modern version of Adolf Hitler, and Israel is the modern version of Nazi Germany.
Couldn't be further from
Well,
the
last
fact,
week,
because
9 out of 10 children in one home where 2 doctors reside were killed in an airstrike.
Well,
Was
that
that? What was that?
Remarkable.
Well, what was that?
That has been based only on the basis of hearsay.
You don't
and
believe that
secondhand
story?
Information. I want these stories.
Wait a minute. You don't believe
Yes.
that those children were killed?
I have seen conflicting accounts, and I want that story to be properly investigated
Wow.
before the international media
Wow.
runs with it. I have
You
a
think
question.
those 2 parents, one of whom I think operated on one of the children,
I have a question.
you think that those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up?
Why are they...
So this evil cunt who will roast in hell is now going to claim that a doctor whose 9 children were blown to smithereens, and then she tried desperately to save the life of her last living child, that she's actually a dirty little liar, and she's just promoting Hamas propaganda. Because, of course, anything and every statistic that comes out of Palestine must be Hamas propaganda, right? Right?
9 of their 10 children had been blown to pieces
what did she
by
just,
an Israeli airstrike.
What did she just say?
Those 2 doctors, the parents, they just made it up.
Why are
that
those
9 of
children
their
there?
10 children.
Why are those children there? So when a foreign adversary invades the United States and they bomb your house and blow up your children, I'm just gonna ask, why were your kids there? Fucking subhumans.
Children had been blown to pieces by an Israeli
Thank you for the
airstrike.
$5 donation, but you don't understand killing kids is bad. Yep.
If this is true...
You don't believe it?
Well, why on earth was artificially generated imagery used to promote this story when it first
I
happened?
got to say,
We've seen
Natasha,
time
I
and
think
time
what you've
again-
just said about that
Piers
family
Morgan, we've seen
is despicable.
We've seen time
I'm
and time
sorry,
again.
Yeah,
it's despicable.
What is truly
As somebody, you talk
despicable-
about blood libel, like Dave said. You talk about blood libel. You talk about lies.
All I said,
you talk about
Piers,
promoting
was that there were
propaganda.
conflicting
And here you
accounts.
sit here as a lawyer and you say that you do not believe those 9 children were killed.
I didn't say that. You're putting
You
words
did?
in my mouth.
No, you did say that, and now you're immediately retracting it because your own morals are directly antithetical to your job. Your job is to defend every last action Israel takes. And Israel is killing a lot of kids, Natasha. So why don't you get on your knees like a good girl and lap up the puddle that Benjamin Netanyahu has spilled on the floor for you? Fucking dispel more Israeli Hasbra, you useless cunt.
Do you believe it or not?
I said that there were conflicting
Do you
accounts
believe it?
and it needs to be
Do
investigated.
you believe it?
I thought you would be the first
parents said
person
9 of their
that
10
wants-
children were killed.
They
Do you
haven't-
believe them
they
or not?
haven't- they
Or
haven't
did those
said
2
that
doctors
directly.
make it up?
They haven't said that directly as far as I have seen. I have seen second-hand accounts and hearsay, but it's important to ask, why are these civilians still there? Why is it that
Actually, no, it's important to
Maybe because there's nowhere for them to fucking go? Oh, I don't know, maybe it's because it's their ancestral home? Maybe because Israel bombs them every time they step out of the fucking zones that have been designated as, quote, safe zones? I'm gonna fucking crash out.
Believe that family have lost 9 of their 10 children.
I want
Actually.
to know why the international
You don't, do
community...
you? You don't. And this goes to the point that I would say about Israel
Why are
generally
these
now, in this war now.
Palestinian
Israel says they don't believe anything.
Coming out of Hamas,
every
indeed.
story that comes out about the deaths of civilians in Gaza,
Because there is a
someone
track
will
record
pop
of
up
lies.
representing the Israeli government saying, it's propaganda, it's not true, I've heard it's not right, I've heard it didn't happen. And the reason you can get away with it, frankly, is because you won't allow, the Israeli government won't allow, I don't want to keep putting you in the government, but you defend them. The Israeli government refuses to allow international journalists to get in there and do their job and verify whether any of these things are actually
So I
happening
have been
when
there.
you say they didn't happen.
I can help you with why. I've been there in September and seen a great deal of the
You've
Hamas...
been there? Bitch, you went on a fucking sanitized tour funded by the IDF. Just like every other fucking journalist they allow in there. Because, guys, I don't know if you know this, Israel does not allow any foreign journalists to cover this conflict. Not fucking one. The only people who are allowed to cover it are put through this specific route where they won't see any fucking dead kids or dead women or dead civilians. All they're shown is just like, well, here's an example of a hospital that the Hamas was hiding underneath. Like, oh my God.
terror infrastructure with my own eyes, including the fact that when we were in Rafah, every second building was being used
Did you see any dead
by
children?
Hamas. No, and this is the important factor.
Why do you think that?
Our movements...
Is that because there
very-
aren't any,
No.
or because you were being given a sanitized little tour,
No, we were
which
being-
didn't involve seeing the bodies of dead children?
We were very restricted because of the nature of the battlefield in
What
in
right does the
Gaza.
IDF have
She's
to
actually so
restrict
stupid. No, she's not stupid. This woman is incredibly smart. She's Israel's lawyer. She's not stupid. She's evil. There is a very big difference between somebody doing this out of ignorance and somebody doing this out of malice. This woman is an evil woman. She will burn in hell. She's not making it into the pearly gates. Her fucking job is to defend modern Hitler. Her job is to defend a genocide. She's not stupid. She is subhuman.
Journalists doing their job. In every
well, on
other
the
war I've
basis-
ever been involved in, including sending my Daily Mirror journalists to cover the Iraq war in Baghdad, where they rang me at midnight to ask if they should leave or stay in a hotel, the Baghdad Hilton, I think it was called, before shock and awe arrived. So huge responsibility on my shoulders then about the lives of my journalists, but they were prepared to risk them to report the truth to the wider world. Israel has decided no journalists from outside can go in.
For 3 reasons.
And make that assessment themselves.
For 3 reasons. 1, they'll tell the truth. 2, they'll tell the truth. 3, they'll tell the fucking truth.
What right does Israel have to do that?
For 3 reasons. Will you allow me to finish?
Well, there are no reasons.
Well, you've
It's
just
none
asked
of
me-
your business
you've
whether
just-
the journalists view their safety
you
as being at
haven't-
risk.
I'm sorry, you haven't heard the reasons yet. The first, of course, is the safety of the journalists, and I appreciate you don't accept that.
Safety
Second-
of the journalists? Bitch, have you ever seen Generation Kill? We don't give a fuck. We're Americans. We give journalists a fucking Glock, and we send them into Kandahar with the Marines and said, good luck, bro. Do you know what the fuck you're talking about? What the fuck? Dude, Americans don't give a shit. An American journalist will literally... We interviewed bin Laden. Brother. Oh my God, I have to pull this up. Journalist interviews bin Laden in the fucking 90s, bro. Give me the video.
The NYPD
comes across the field, and we
Is this it?
bench covered in red fabric and put a blanket kind of over his knee. It was like sitting at story time with an old uncle.
But there was a problem.
This is an American journalist sitting in a fucking cave with Osama bin Laden. And you think, oh, it's for the safety of the journalists. Let the fucking journalists make that decision.
Problem. Bin Laden's handlers wouldn't allow anyone to translate the Sheikh's answers. Miller didn't know what bin Laden...
I mean, what the fuck are we talking about?
The second is the same.
The idea you're doing is like some quaint.
Koof just said CNN, of course. Lame-o.
That was reason number one.
Are you claiming that interview that happened in the 1990s isn't real? Koofs, are you saying that interview didn't happen? Are you dead ass? Are you dead ass right now, bro? For real, are you dead ass?
Reason number two is the ability.
Better get better.
Is the ability of IDF soldiers to be able to conduct this war against Hamas without.
Without the journalists getting in the way.
No, without.
They've actually, by the way, they've killed more journalists in Palestinian journalists than in any war
Hamas members
in modern
wearing
history.
press vests are not journalists. And reason number three.
So Hamas members wearing press vests are not journalists. You heard it right there. You heard it right there. Anybody who is brown-skinned and wearing a press vest will be targeted. They are Hamas. That's what this fucking woman just said.
None of them are journalists.
And reason number three.
So just to be clear, none of the Palestinian journalists who've been killed are actually
I
journalists.
said
Is that
Hamas members.
They're all
And you're claiming, yes, exactly, you dumb, evil cunt that will roast in hell. You're claiming that every single Palestinian journalist is Hamas.
Palestinianism, those that are. And those
Every
that belong
single
to,
dead Palestinian journalist is a member of Hamas. Is that your position?
No, listen, I appreciate Piers.
That is also bullshit.
But misrepresenting every
So that's 2 out of 2. What's the
no.
third reason?
Our mutual friend Douglas Murray was embedded with the IDF in Lebanon.
You said the words yourself. I love Douglas, but he was embedded with the IDF.
Right.
He's unbelievably pro-Israel.
Let me finish.
So of course
Will
he
you
was
allow
going
me
to
to
write
finish?
what
No.
he witnessed while embedded with the IDF.
No, let me finish what his experiences there were. The difference
I
is
read
that in
it.
Lebanon...
You have to tell me.
There is something I think that you won't have heard. The IDF are able to allow journalists into Lebanon. He wasn't the only one. There were many other international
There have been a
journalists with him.
tiny... No.
Those other
bullshit.
international journalists with him
Bullshit.
were very clear.
There
that
have been a tiny handful of journalists led in by the IDF in tightly controlled environments to witness.
Just said Piers Morgan is a lib. If you think Piers Morgan is a liberal, then I have a bridge to sell you.
What the IDF were prepared to let them see.
And you know what those
And actually, what it
journalists
needs
said?
this war to stop the bullshit, which is out of control, by the way, in this last 3 minutes, is to let international journalists go in and do their jobs. And they will worry with their networks or organizations about their safety, but they should be allowed to do their jobs. And there's only one reason why the Israeli government doesn't want international journalists crawling all over Gaza. It's because they do not want them reporting what they will find.
Reason
which,
number
by the
three.
way, will include the bodies of thousands of children who you, on the Israeli side, are not counting as you count the terrorists you kill, but who journalists would.
Reason number three is that those journalists that were in Lebanon said that they had to be very careful about what they reported because of what Hezbollah would do to their colleagues in Beirut. The fact that international journalists...
Hezbollah? You mean Hezbollah? Hezbollah? You're a fucking lawyer for Israel and you don't know how to pronounce Hezbollah?
journalists have sunk to this level that they would allow their reportage to be controlled by terrorist organizations, Iranian proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah included, is despicable. That is the real issue here that has driven
Actually,
the
it's not.
international
The real
community.
issue
Of course
is
it is.
Israel,
this is terrorist organizations'
the real-
propaganda.
Actually,
that
One of
you-
my dedicated hate watchers, Koofs, is saying, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. Go Trump! Koofs, do you know that song is about gay sex? That's not even opinionated. That song is about fucking dudes up the ass at the YMCA. That is what that song is about.
Let me bring David. Let me
and
bring
the fact
David.
that you will not allow me to answer a single question
You know what?
here
You've made
will
all
be
your
perfectly
points, and they
evident to your
all, I'm
viewers.
afraid,
I
Natasha,
haven't. I certainly
turned out
haven't
to be
made all my
bullshit.
points.
So let me bring in Dave. Dave, look, I don't like to keep saying the word bullshit, but when you hear a lot of bullshit, you have to call it for what it is, bullshit. And the truth is, particularly on the journalist front, there is a very simple way that all this fog of war confusion could be resolved, and that is to let the journalists in. And there's a very simple reason why they're not.
Because the journalists will find all of the dead babies.
They don't want the journalists to report to the world what is actually going on. Otherwise, they'd let them in.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I understand, Natasha, that you're upset that Pierce isn't letting you finish your thought, but the idea that the number one reason you gave is that what Israel just values the sanctity of life so much that they're so worried about these journalists. It's
Real
just
quick, Koofs, it's just a song, who cares? Don't you find it ironic that Donald Trump's favorite song is one about dudes fucking each other up the ass while he does a double dick stroke as his favorite fucking dance? It's fun to stay in the YMCA. That's literally what Trump does. That's his favorite fucking dance.
so ridiculous.
Actually,
It doesn't
it's
pass the
offensive,
basic smell
honestly,
test. It's offensive to think that level. You know, you talk about propaganda being spread. That is just pure propaganda.
blamed
It is
for these
obvious.
journalist
It is obviously the reason Israel
Who's going to
doesn't
be
let-
blamed? Sorry, Natasha just said, who will be blamed for the journalist deaths? A recognition that yet more journalists would be killed, because I think it's well over 100
why Israel
Palestinians
hasn't
who you
wanted
think
to-
are all Hamas members. But you know what? It's not your job to worry about the safety of international journalists. They've all been to many, many war zones.
That's
Whether it's
extremely
Clarissa Ward at
hypocritical,
CNN,
yes,
Jeremy
to say
Bowen
that
at
and to
BBC.
accuse Israel
I know a
of
lot of these
killing
people
journalists in the
myself.
same breath.
You let the journalists do their job, and you do yours,
Yeah, by the way,
and the
Pierce-
IDF can
Pierce,
do theirs.
They don't seem to have this concern about being blamed for slaughtering the children of Gaza. You know, like
they don't admit
that's not
they're
enough to
killing
get them
any.
to stop that. Right, right. As every time you hear, it's either, oh, this is propaganda, this is Hamas propaganda, those kids weren't intentionally killed, all this stuff. But look, like we said at the beginning, this is just, it doesn't meet the basic smell test, the basic human.
Also, let me just say one thing. I don't care if you're intentionally killing kids. You're still killing kids. If you're doing it intentionally, that's far worse. But it's not an excuse if you're still killing kids. Not a valid excuse.
Test. If you're telling me, as you said, Natasha, that Hamas has locked up all of the aid that's gotten in there, so who are you targeting when you don't let further aid in? It's the civilian population who's not getting it. Now, you could sit here and say Israel isn't targeting them, meaning I blow up a building that I know has little children in it, but I'm claiming I'm targeting the bad guy.
Exactly.
But you know that in effect, your action is going to, in effect, destroy the civilian population. I'm sorry, this is a distinction without a difference, and I don't care about your appeal to international law. Look, I'm Lysander Spooner on this issue of international law. I think either international law allows what Israel is doing to Gaza, or it's been powerless to stop it. So either way, it has not been effective enough. By the way, it does seem like it's the latter, not the former, seeing as how there is, you know, criminal warrants out for Netanyahu for committing war crimes. But regardless of that, the bottom line here is that Israel is doing this to the civilian population of Gaza, and nobody who's being honest doesn't believe that the only reason Israel won't let journalists in there is because they don't want the world to see what they're doing to these people. Period. That's the reason, and everybody, including you, knows it. The problem here is that you're not allowed to tell the truth. You're Israel's lawyer, and you got to defend them no matter what. Natasha, does Israel have nuclear weapons?
Sorry, I'm an independent
Does Israel
member
have nuclear
of
weapons?
the English bar.
Yes or no?
That's a good
I'm not
question.
instructed.
Yes or no?
I'm
Yes
not
or no, Natasha?
instructed.
Do they have
Does
nuclear
Israel have
weapons?
nuclear weapons, Natasha?
Why do you think I would know any better than you, Piers?
Holy fuck, she can't answer. He just got her so fucking good. Yes, Israel has nuclear weapons. This is well known.
What's the name of your company?
You do know you are not telling the truth, and so you won't say it. But by the way, this right here, Piers, well, let me just say, it's disqualifying to this conversation. You're playing a different game than me and Piers are.
Yep.
We are having a conversation about what's actually going on.
And your job is to lie.
Lawyer who's not allowed to incriminate your client, which is Israel, because you know the answer the same way Piers knows it, the same way I know it. Do they have nukes?
Let me be perfectly clear.
Do they
I
have
am
nukes?
not in the employ of anyone associated.
What's the name of your organisation?
UK Lawyers for Israel began as a voluntary association of lawyers looking for the proper application of law to Israel, Israelis, and combating anti-Semitism. It is truly remarkable. We are having a different conversation. This is a circus, and I am actually seeking to address practical questions, and including the disgusting situation that we are now left with, where the international community has said that Palestinian civilians must uniquely be kept in a war zone, may not be permitted to leave. That is what I am hearing being advocated for consistently, so that they can be continued to be used not just as human shields by Hamas, but as human sacrifices, dragging this conflict out. The tragedy of this misinformation and this propaganda is not just that Jews are being gunned down and burned in the street. It is also that Palestinian civilians are continuing to suffer as a result of this war, but also of Hamas suppression, repression, torture, and the stealing of aid, which has been well documented.
No, it hasn't.
The fact that people like the two of you will continue to put out this false information, to perpetuate this conflict, to perpetuate Palestinian suffering, is truly disgusting. What have I said that's false?
I didn't think anyone could be more disingenuous than the UK ambassador. I got to say, Natasha, you've got right up there. You've crossed that little bar, haven't you?
If you can indicate one aspect of what I have said that is incorrect, we will have this conversation. But so far, you are throwing out appallingly misconceived allegations, which are baseless.
Do you know what? Israel, you know what?
Listen, that's all I got for this shit. I can't watch this genocide denier. I can't fucking watch this genocide denier any longer. Oh, all right. Well, listen, you just watched Natasha Hausdorff, an evil cunt who is a professional liar for the genocidal state of Israel. You just watched her just lie and deny and deny and defend and deny. And there's no way that I can soften this blow for you other than the fact that Israel is a Nazi state. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It costs you nothing, and it helps me immensely. If you do want to support the channel financially, please feel free to become a patron on Patreon, become a member on YouTube, buy some Valenti Videos merch right down below, and use the 40% off discount code for Vantage, the Vantage subscription on Ground News. Other than that, do me one other favor and click that video over there. I promise you, it's a banger. What the fuck is going on in chat? Koos is making chat go crazy. Guys, just fucking be adults. Just be adults. All right, we have a thumbnail to make. First thing I've got to do is take a screenshot from this. I got to get a screenshot from this for the Thumbum Shatner.
Couldn't answer the question.
Jonathan
whether
Rickers on, who was a
nukes.
former IDF guy, obviously. And even he was able.
There we go. Okay. We're going to lose frames. 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 Gonna lose frames. Thank you for the $2 donation, Chad. Oh. How you doing, Barrett? Guys, a second Koofs just hit the frames. Hashtag deport Koofs. I love that. Funny, a 9/11 joke. Leftists hate this nation, huh? Dude, I fucking love 9/11 jokes. If you think anybody gives a fuck about 9/11 jokes, you're an absolute fucking idiot. Be so fucking for real with yourself, dog. Koofs doesn't melt steel beams. Hell no, he don't. Hell no, he don't. Dude, people went and fought for that. Be respectful. Brother, I watched the fucking towers fall. I can make as many 9/11 jokes as I fucking want. Suck my dick. All right. Ugh. $20 donation. Israel is a terrorist country, right or wrong? Correct. Correct. Yes. Outline. Fuck, I forgot you can't say the word genocide. A professional liar. There we go. I think that's a banger. I'll take it. Hi, Bean. Hi, handsome. Okay. All right. This is episode 141. Thank you for the $2 donation. Chris, did you see Musk and Trump are fighting? Yes, I did. Covered it live yesterday as it happened. Chris, why can you be based? What? What? What the fuck does that even mean? Chris, why can't you just be based? What is based, Koofs? What is based? It's Gen A slang? No, I know it's slang, but I want to know what he means. Pierce Morgan crashes out on... Bro doesn't know what based means. Based means good and right and correct. Okay, no, I'm asking you what you mean. You're saying, why can't you be based? What do you mean? What would be based? Please tell me what I would have to do in order for you to consider me based. Crashes out on a... on Israel's lawyer. Pure cinema. I don't know, like say F this woke shit and be based and conservative. Yeah, dude, I'm completely convinced that you are slow. You have a mental disability, don't you? Completely fucking completely convinced. How old is this dude? He's got to be 15 or 16. He can't possibly be older than 16. He's probably the type of kid to comment Hitler was based. He's 13. He's 13? Oh my God. "21, as I said? No, you're not, dude. Grown-ass adults do not use words like based. His old user was Koofs15. I wonder if that means he was born in 2015 and he's actually 10. I would not be surprised. All right, that video is uploaded. Hey, Koofs, is Hitler based? He's in the corner. I'll wait for him to come back. Peace out, controller. Have a good one. Now we're putting sanctions on the ICC, the International Criminal Court, for targeting the U.S. and Israel, who are one and the same. Hell nah, Hitler was not based. Koofs, could you just give me 3 people that you consider based? Just tell me 3 people that you consider to be based. Based is a very dumb word, yes. Charlie Kirk, Trump, and the Matt Walsh guy. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through Charlie Kirk. Hold on. Ready for this? Let's go through those. Okay. So you said this guy is based. This guy right here. Right? Hold on. Let me make sure I get this from the beginning.
You had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped. And she was going to give birth and she would, no, wait. Oh, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live. Would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's no, but it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
So, Koofs, the guy who says that he would force his daughter to give birth to a child, his 10-year-old daughter, after she is raped and forcefully impregnated, that guy is based? That guy's based. To you, right? That guy's based? That guy's based, right? Oh, well, that's not what I mean. Oh, well, let's move on to the other one. Hey, Koofs, are you a fascist? Koofs, are you a fascist? Hey, Koofs, are you a fascist? No? Oh, but you said Matt Walsh is one of your, he's based, he's one of your idols, and he calls himself a fascist. Self-proclaimed theocratic fascist. So, This is one of your idols, a fascist who calls himself a fascist. He's based. He's based, right? This guy who calls himself a fascist. He's one of your idols. Koofs? 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 You said you're not a fascist, but you look up to Matt Walsh, who is a fascist. That's based, right? Theocratic means intertwined with religion. Koofs, where'd you go? Koofs. It's satire because the left calls him that. Oh, I see. And then last but not least, you said Donald Trump was based, right? Why don't I just go to my own home? Let's go to my profile. So Trump is based. Is it based that Trump is in the Epstein files? Is it based that Trump is in the Epstein files? He's not, bro. Watch older videos on it. Okay, so he is on it. And you said Candace Owens, right?
I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. In thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing in the UK, is what you kind of want to avoid. So I don't have anything I have no problems with nationalism. It's globalism that I try to avoid.
Literally defending Hitler. Literally defending Hitler. She's black, dude. Also, what's wrong with being a patriot? Nothing's wrong with being a patriot. Who gives a fuck that she's black? She literally champions the Ku Klux Klan. There's a reason why everybody calls her KK Candace Owens. It's because she champions the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacists. She's a self-hating black woman. Oh my god, yeah, no, we never even asked this. Hey, Koofs, are you a flat earther? We never asked this. Koofs, are you a flat earther? I can't believe we've never asked him this. No, but I think the NASA lies. Do you think space is real, Koofs? NASA is satanic. Oh my god, this guy has so many mental illnesses. This guy has so many mental illnesses. Hey, Koofs, can you break through the firmament? Are we able to break through the firmament? What's NASA spelt backwards? Asin? Asin? What? Satan? Koofs. Oh my god, Koofs. Koofs, you're so stupid. Oh my god, Koofs, no. Koofs, what? Koofs, what? If Trump were to sue Elon for defamation, could he prove his innocence as long as he doesn't sue but is guilty in everyone's eyes? What? No, he can't prove his innocence. Yeah, no, Koofs cannot be older than 13 years old. He can't. I don't believe him. I do think the Earth is a globe. No, Koofs, we're not moving past this. Spell NASA backwards. Spell NASA backwards. Great-grandfather was a chief ensignment mate, and grandfather was a first-class machinist mate. Do you know a lot about military stuff? What did they do? I have no fucking idea what an ensignment mate or a machinist mate is. NASA ASIN. Okay, so Koofs, why did you say that it's spelt Satan backwards when it doesn't? Riddle me that. Why did you say NASA spelt backwards says Satan when it doesn't? Now look the san, add T to it. So you had to add a T? And you had to remove the S and the A because it spells assin. But if you just add a T and you move the S and the A, well, then it spells Satan. Koofs, you need professional help. Your parents failed you. You need professional help, Koofs. Your parents failed you. Dude, all of my Know But You Don't Understands are uploaded on YouTube. Almost every single one of them. Bro, Koofs, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you were raised by pathetic people. To create something as stupid as you is a sign of abject failure from your parents. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you come from an incredibly weak bloodline. Your parents failed as parents. Failed miserably. Miserably. Are your parents siblings, Koofs? Are your parents siblings? Dude, I live in a rural side. Dude, are your parents siblings? No, ew, what? I'm trying to understand how you came out this stupid. There has to be some sort of genetic anomaly. Either one of your parents is mentally stunted and they passed on that disability to you, or they just weren't there. Because for you to be this stupid has to be nurtured. I don't believe it could possibly be natured. I think that the environment you were raised in, the failure of your parents being terrible parents and not knowing how to raise a child, I think they have left you behind. The rest of society is far, far ahead of you. This is genuinely saddening to have left a child behind like this. This is insane. It's insane. I'm starting to pity you, dude. I'm genuinely starting to pity you. Dude, I grew up fine, a normal kid. What are you talking about? Clearly not, dude. You're the stupidest person I've ever interacted with. I'm 27 years old. I do political commentary for a living. I argue with people all the time. I debate a lot of people. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Koofs, you're the stupidest person I've ever talked to in my entire life. I'm not saying that for clout. I'm not saying that as a joke. You are the stupidest person I've ever spoken to. And I'm trying to understand how somebody gets that stupid. And I genuinely believe it's probably the fault of the environment you were raised in. Yeah, that's a motherfucking ray gun. We are all brothers and sisters in the eyes of God, Chris. Listen, we may all be created equally, but we do not leave this world equally, okay? That's a fucking fact. Koofs got dropped down the stairs as a child? Motherfucker, Koofs got thrown down the stairs as a child. Guys, you have to be held in order to be dropped. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's so fucking brutal. Holy shit. That's crazy. That's a diabolical line. I'm going to be using that. Say that to my face. Oh no, he's getting twiggered. Koofs, are you getting twiggered because we're telling you that your parents were bad parents? And that the reason why you ended up such an inferior person is because your parents were weak? Are you getting twiggered now? Uh-oh. Koofy's getting twiggered. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. $50 says he hits us with a hail Trump. $50 says he hits us with a hail Trump. Oh no, he's twiggered. He's twiggered. Hi, Luigi.
You want to say hi to everybody? Come on up. You want to say hi to everybody? Hi, everybody. You okay? You okay?
On a serious note, it's very scary that dude can vote. He can't vote. He's 13. Can't vote for another 5 years. Can I ban him now? No. No. Cannot ban him. He says hail Trump all the time. No, you cannot ban him. Fuck no. Fuck no. How'd you miss Trump 2029? I didn't miss it. He says that shit all the time. He hiles Trump. Yeah, he hiles Trump all the time. No, we're not banning him, bro. We need a lol cow. We need somebody to point and laugh at. No, you can't ban him. Hasanabi and Chris collab when? As soon as that motherfucker recognizes me. As soon as that motherfucker recognizes that I am his white counterpart. That's when. As soon as he realizes that he is aging out and he is a man named Hassan and he is from Turkey and that he needs a white male from New York with Italian-American culture and willing to tell a whole bunch of fascists to suck his cock, then and only then will we, what's the word? Combine forces. Both live in New York, perfect collab. Hassan lives in fucking LA, dude. What are you talking about? Hassan lives in either LA or West Hollywood. No, he lived in Jersey back in the day, but he don't live on the East Coast no more. I'm only 1 degree separated from Hassan. I mean, my manager has worked with Hassan numerous times, so. And Hassan has watched my videos on stream before. Hassan has reacted to my content. You ever wish you lived on the West Side? Fuck no, dude. Fuck no. How you doing, Plastic? By the way, guys, I'm going to end the stream soon. I got to take a fat fucking shit. A big, fat, stinky. I have to poop out of my ass. Okay? Okay? Oh, yeah, I got to take a koofs. There we go, guys. That's it from now on. I got to take a koofs. Daddy's got to take a koofs. Holy fuck, $50 donation from Sora Nokami. Take this for the road. Thank you very much, Sora. W Sora. That's a lot of money to be laundered straight from the DNC. Remember, guys, any and all money that is sent to me will be spent on the Resurrection Fund so we can bring Karl Marx back to life. Remember. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end the stream. I really got to go take a fat shit. I am Gonzo Alonso. Bye, guys. Thank you to everybody who donated to the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Bye, Koofs. Thank you, Koofs, for helping me make so much money. They're turning the frogs gay. They are turning the frogs gay, folks. It's bad. It's bad. Anyway, have a good one. Bye, guys.